The hearing aid battery is an integral part of a modern day hearing aid, and over the last few years there's been quite big developments in batteries. The demand has been to get batteries smaller so that hearing aids become more and more discreet. So for example, today we've a hearing aid like this, the invisible hearing aid, which is the iSync, compared to say a hearing aid like this, which is a high-powered digital hearing aid for people with very severe hearing losses. And because of the physical size of these devices and the demands that the processor puts on the battery, they obviously need different sizes of battery. And in fact, in the industry today, we have 4 commonly used batteries, and all these batteries belong to what's called the Zinc-Air family of batteries. So these batteries are relatively cheap. They are not the same battery as you'll get in a watch. So when you go to a jeweler to have your battery for your wristwatch changed, that type of a battery is silver battery, and it's not normally used in the hearing aid world. It's too expensive for one. So we tend to focus our work at the moment when we're fitting people with hearing aids at Ascent Hearing Care with the Zinc-Air battery. And there are 4 sizes, and it's very important when you get your hearing aid to be familiar with the size of battery. You can either remember the number that I'll tell you in a minute, or the colour code. Either will help you to make sure that you get the right batteries, particularly if you're away on holiday somewhere, you need to pop into a general store for some. You shouldn't really do that because you should have a spare supply with you at all times, so that's a good tip to remember. So this particular battery is the biggest battery used in our work, and this is the blue battery, and it's the 675. So you can see on my hand the battery has a Stay Fresh tab, which you just peel off when you're ready to use. Make sure you do that before you put it in the hearing aid, otherwise it won't work, and then away you go. So the blue battery is the 675. Now the next battery down is the orange battery. This is the 13 battery, and this would typically be used in a number of traditional behind the ear hearing aids for moderate to severe hearing loss. Again, it's in a dial pack, normally 4 or 6. It basically has a Stay Fresh tab that you peel off, and then you pop in your hearing aid and it will fire up and away you go. And most of our modern hearing aids that Ascent Hearing Care provide now have alerting messages in them to tell you when it's going to be time to change your battery. The next size down is the 312. So now we're getting into very small batteries, and we might be looking at a very tiny mini BTE, for example, or some of the canal aids that are fitted, made to measure canal aids that are fitted for the in the ear family. So the colour code now is brown, and we can see from what I've said before, same again, Stay Fresh tab, peel off, place in the hearing aid with the tab away, and then the aid will work very nice and sweetly. And the final battery in this family of 4 is the 10 battery, the yellow battery, and that's used, for example, take for example the invisible hearing aid. That uses this 10A battery. So the invisible hearing aid will work for about 7 days with a 10A battery, yellow tab, peel off, pop in the hearing aid, off you go. And these batteries, as I say, are relatively inexpensive. If you are getting your batteries from Ascent Hearing Care, we are the most cost-effective supplier of batteries in the world. Will not be beaten on price. We want to make sure our clients use good, strong, fresh batteries at all times. All the batteries that are provided are within what's called a use by date, and this is usually from manufacture up to about 7 years. So these batteries, for example, at the moment, they're stamped for use up to 2015, but they're obviously batteries coming into the warehouse now that will have longer shelf life than that. So important to remember that it's a Zinc-Air battery, At the moment, the zinc battery has a very tiny amount of mercury, and the industry is working very hard to get that away, so that what we will be having very soon are what are called mercury-free zinc batteries, which will provide just as good a performance in the hearing aid as the current batteries do that have a tiny bit of mercury. And we're very confident by the middle of 2011 that particular step of development in the battery will have been achieved. So you'll keep an eye out for that when you come into one of our shops. Finally, what I want to mention is don't just chuck away batteries. Think about the environment. If you collect them in one of the dowel packs, a spare one, you can return them to the centre and they can be disposed of in a safe and appropriate manner. So please don't just chuck batteries away in the dustbin. Save them when they're exhausted. And another thing to remember is don't leave batteries lying around in the home where young children might be able to get access to them. Think they're sweets and maybe swallow one, because it's not good for their health. So be careful where you store them in a cool, dry place, and always have a pack on hand. So when you go out to the shops, you never know when your battery might just decide it's time for a change. If you peel that part off, which is what's used to hold it on the dial ring, you can carry that comfortably in your bag or your pocket. And then if the hearing aid tells you it's time for a new battery, you've got them. You're not fannying around thinking, oh well, I'll just have to do without till I get home. So always have a spare pair of batteries with you. And a dowel pack's the ideal thing. It's safe and easy. So there you go. That's the story of the hearing aid battery. 4 sizes, 1 technology at the moment, Zinc Air. We're working very hard with our suppliers to get the tiny bit of mercury that's left in these batteries away, and all being well, that will be done by the middle of 2011. And don't forget, make sure that you get your batteries from Ascent Hearing Care. Be a member of the Battery Birthday Club, for example, because then you'll get a nice surprise when it's your birthday.